In this video, we're going to be talking all about hip turn. How much rotation do you need? Why do you need hip turn? What can you do in regards to pressure, lateral movement? The hips are vitally important in this golf swing, okay? They create power, they create rotation, they create depth within the top of your backswing. They're pretty important. Balance, oh, the lot. We need to make sure that they're working on the correct angle. We need to make sure they're working with the correct speed and power and rotation and resistance. And regardless of whether you've got the hip rotation of a 16-year-old, where I remember I used to be able to like, it was like an elastic band, to now, where I feel like I'm sore every time I move them, to maybe slightly elderly, where you really feel like you don't have much rotation at all. This video, I'm going to be talking about ways in which you can use your hips to the best of your ability and be able to maximize your distance and the consistency of strike, because that is really, really important with the hips, okay? So one of the things that I see a lot of is players moving the hips too much too soon, okay? So straight away, as a general rule of thumb, the hips will move 45 degrees away from the golf ball, okay? So 45 degrees away from the golf ball is about here. The shoulders, as a result, will turn not 45, but 90. Okay, so there's a 45-degree difference between the upper and the lower body. Now, if you're a golfer with limited flexibility and you only turn 45 degrees, but then your upper body doesn't really go much past that, then you do have license to turn them more, because I would rather see good depth and rotation from the upper body and bring a little bit more rotation with the lower body to accommodate this. Majority of golfers, because they know it's only 45 degrees, will go there and they'll stop. Now at this point now, this is really going to encourage the slicey shot, okay? So if you are a player that feels like you've got very limited rotation in the lower body and it causes limitations in your upper body, you have my permission to over rotate your lower body, because we want to make sure we've got the right depth to the top of the backswing, okay? So the lower body can turn 45 degrees, but if it needs to for flexibility reasons, it can turn a little bit more to help the shoulder and the chest turn to the top of the backswing. Also, hip rotation is all about angles, making sure that the trail hip rotates away from the target, but we don't overload the weight into the lead side, okay? So I often try and get the feeling that the lead knee, as the hips rotate, go in towards the middle of the stance. Body weight at this point now is pretty neutral. In reality, when you actually swing the golf club at the golf ball and get to the top of the backswing, the reality is that you're probably slightly favouring this trail leg. Now, what I want you to try and feel is that the trail knee doesn't go too far on the outside, okay, of the trail foot, because we then lose stability. We get the weight to the outsides of the feet, which is where we don't want to be. We're not skiing, okay? So as we take the swing, the hip rotation, feel like the lower body, your weight stays central in your feet, but be aware that when you actually swing a golf club at full speed with the golf ball, you will move pressure to the trail leg, but that is normal, okay? But I always want players to feel like they're staying as neutral as possible, because weirdly enough, the way it works, if you allow yourself to move to the right or to the trail foot, and you think, oh yeah, it's only 60%, but really, you're trying to move 60%, you move about 80. So always try and stay central and let the natural body movement will move you 60%. So try and stay central. Let the lead knee move into the middle of the stance, the trail hip move away from the golf ball, okay? Have a little bounce, try and feel like the body weight's pretty much 50-50, okay? Then once you get to the top of the backswing, you're then gonna feel this lead knee move back over the lead foot. And the trail knee is now towards the middle of the stance. And now my body weight is on my left foot, okay? So the key thing here, central, central, move in, stay over the foot, move across. All the while, this doesn't start moving too far as well. This is just rotating. So just really focusing on the lower body. put butt of the club on the ground, hold the club head, move that way. See how I'm just kind of moving the trail hip away from where the golf ball would be. So trail hip moves away from the golf ball, lead knee moves in towards the positioning of the golf ball, which is the middle of the stance in this particular case with a mid-iron. Body weight stays central. Then we drive this over the left foot, this towards the golf ball. There. Little sound effects in there as well. Body weight will move across as a result. So the power in the rotation slingshots through the golf ball. And these are the bits you can just practice again at home. You don't need a driving range, you don't need clubs and balls. You just need there, feel that. Let that trail knee move in. If you're watching this at home right now, stand up, give it a go. Trail knee moves into the middle of the, lead knee moves into the middle of the stance. Trail knee drives towards the golf ball in the middle of the stance, and the lead knee drives up past the lead foot. Perfect. There, 1, 2. Now, as I mentioned before, golfers that have got a little bit more of a limited flexibility can over rotate the lower body to allow the upper body to rotate as well. But what you're going to do from the top of the backswing is make sure that you get your weight back across to this lead side, because what you'll find is the more you rotate the lower body, you will often put a little bit more weight as well onto the trail leg. So you've got to make sure that you get this lower body back over the lead foot, okay? So you get to the top, you've got to drive a little bit more. You can even move it laterally, because if you feel like you've not got the rotation, then you can get from here, if you can drive laterally and get your weight there. And even if your hips are quite square on at the moment of impact, what you've done is you've moved your pressure, you've moved your power, and you've moved your the body through the body weight, moving it towards the lead foot. And that's where you're going to start to be able to get good ball striking and good distance as well. So it's really important that you understand your own body's physical limitations to what you can and can't do, but not use it as a negative. There's always I always feel like in the golf swing, there's always a plan B. There's not one way to swing a club, as I've just demonstrated there. If you can swing it if you can rotate at 45 degrees and get good depth, then great. If you can't, over rotate. But then if you over rotate with the lower body, just be aware that you need a little bit more lateral than other golfers. You need to be able to drive more across to the lead side, because it's going to make a huge difference on not only how far you can hit the golf ball, but how you can hit down on the golf ball and get the best type of ball strike and get that compression into the golf shot. And that's really, really important, because when you get into the finished position, it's always nice to be looking round to the target. But again, if you can't get that full rotation to the target, make sure that even when you've hit, you're still on that lead side. All my weight's on this lead foot. So it doesn't have to be fully rotated, but what I'm encouraging myself to do is get the weight across to the lead foot, so I'm able to compress down into the golf ball. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, lots more that you can look at in the terms transition videos, top of the backswing videos, grip videos. There's a huge back catalogue if you're new to the channel. Also hit the like, hit the subscribe. Thanks for watching again. I'll see you next time.